minutes. So I do have some comments and some brief questions. I'll go through this as quickly as possible. I just want to make sure that the public is informed that the LCAP stands for Local Control Accountability Plan, which is to say this was a 3-year plan that was put together with feedback over the year from the public in different parts of the district. That's very important to know because if you've ever been to an LCAP session, you'll know that you have folks from all walks of life there sharing their opinions on what we should spend these dollars on. So it's safe to say that every viewpoint in our community was heard and then some. That said, I want to go directly to something that's near and dear to my heart, which is item number 18, which is action and service item 5.4. And I do want to acknowledge the fact that we did have to cut a program or reallocate, I'd rather say reallocate funding to provide identified students with the appropriate social and emotional supports by assigning full-time mental health professionals. Each elementary and middle school and Tracy High School will receive 1 mental health professional. Each comprehensive high school will receive 2 mental health professionals. School site social workers will work with the child welfare and attendance social worker, Dr. Tina Porter, who's amazing by the way, to ensure that homeless and foster youth are accurately identified and receive ongoing supports in an effort to reduce chronic absenteeism and suspension rates to the tune of about $2.8 million. Just so the public knows, this board up here has hammered our school district staff and cabinet members when it comes to this. The well-being of our students, but also their social emotional well-being, their development. Anytime that we hear a rumor within the community, automatically we go straight to the district, the highest levels of the district. Anytime we hear there's a rumor of this type of behavior, that type of behavior, we want to know then and now. This is a response to the community. This is a response to data-driven practices that we wanted to have, but frankly we just didn't know how to go about it, or we knew about it, but we didn't have the funds to. But there was enough. There was enough of a demand, as Tuan mentioned, as Dr. Mayfield mentioned, to where they looked at it hard enough to say we're going to cut Naviance, which to me is just astounding. But you made it work, and so I think that's also a testament to our district to say that we are efficient. If there's a place where we can trim the fat, they will trim the fat. Not too many years ago, during the same meeting, they were singing the praises of Naviance and how great of a program it is and how students love it, teachers love it, and now we're getting rid of it. Why? Because we found a way to make do with what we already have in place. So I wanted to say thank you for doing that and for making this a reality. Not only that, but how can we expect our mental health professionals, those who are sitting with our most anxious students, our most at-risk students, how can we ask them to sit in a room with kids who are so uncertain when they themselves, as professionals and adults, are uncertain about their careers, about their health benefits, about what to do if their own families get sick? So we have to offer them that same security. And the fact that we're taking, in my opinion, the right move and the very bold move to say, you know what, you're full-time, you're going to have benefits, focus on our students because you're going to do it anyways, but now you can do it without having to worry about everything else at home. I applaud it, I support it, and it's about time. And it's not because we didn't want to do it, it's because we had to figure out and make the tough decisions. They had to figure out and make the tough decisions of well, it's going to have to come out of somewhere. And I'll end with this. We are still the 42nd out of 50 states in the entire country when it comes to funding for our schools. We're the 5th largest economy in the world, the 5th largest economy. But out of the 50 states in the United States of America, we're 42nd in per pupil funding. And yet this team here at our district office in ABC Unified found a way to consolidate and reallocate resources to make sure that the most vulnerable students, many of which are in my trustee area in Hawaiian Gardens, come from very difficult home lives. This team here in ABC Unified found a way to make it happen without a drastic windfall of funding. If they can do that and make do with what they have already, Well, I sure hope the state legislature's hearing right now, if they were to bump us from 42nd to 35th or 30th in the country, oh man, I would expect every single graduate from our district to go to an Ivy League because they could, and this team would make it happen. We need full and fair funding for our schools in California. We did it before, we can do it again. But tonight, I'm gonna celebrate this small victory for our wellness coordinators, for our amazing wellness staff here, and especially for our cabinet members, because hopefully very soon you won't have us complaining about this. And I say it's near and dear to my heart because now I have some new data for my research, for my doctorate. So thank you so much. You guys rock, and I love you. Have a great summer. This is awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.